Hi everyone, I'm Sandy Lighterman, the Broward County Film Commission, and welcome to The Real Lauderdale, where we highlight the creative minds within our local screen industry. Today, I'm very happy to have our guest, a Broward County crew member, Earl Perque. Earl has the distinct title of being a best boy grip on major films and TV series like the Apple TV series, Bad Monkey, David Makes Man, The Glades, feature films like Bad Boys, Ride or Die, The Menu, which I loved, Spider-Man Homecoming, and that's just to name a few of his 72 credits, which I counted on IMDb. Welcome, Earl. How are you?
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Well,
I mean, I can't believe I'm part of this. I mean, a lot of other people out there that can do a bang-up job better than me, but
you have an interesting position, and you know, as a best boy grip, and tell me why that's wrong.
Well, first of all, we don't call it a best boy anymore.
Right.
We call it a second company grip.
Yeah.
So the grip, I'll make it brief because we're not in here probably to learn about the grip department.
Sure,
I'll tell
bit.
you a little bit about it. Basically, we work under the cinematographer, which is the guy who's shooting the project, and it's us and the lighting guys, and the grips. Basically, we do light control, and that whether it be from artificial lighting like we're using here, or from the sun. And we do camera mounts. If you put a camera on a car, put a camera on a train, put a camera on a boat, that's us. If you see the dolly, I don't know if a lot of people have seen behind the scenes, they have a dolly, a little thing on track. That's us pushing that. If it's a crane, a camera on a crane.
But that's a dolly grip then, right?
It's a
That's
dolly grip, part
right?
of the grip
department, right?
but another part. There's a key grip, which is my boss. Then it's me. Then the dolly grips, one or two, or maybe even more. And then the company grips, which are the guys that are doing most of the work.
And aren't you mostly safety? I mean, that's a big part of what you do, yeah.
We are, well,
for
we
rigging.
try and all be safe,
right.
No matter what department. But the key grip, along with the AD, is pretty much, they're in charge of safety on set. If they see something, I mean, we go to the AD first, and then the key grip would be the second guy people go to. Basically, we're the does all of the, if somebody needs to raise this table, they come to the grips to get an apple box to raise it. If they need to hang backing,
right. Or if an actor is too short, next to the other,
they put a furniture pad underneath the actor. I mean, basically we're like Home Depot because whatever any other department doesn't have, they come to the grips.
There you go.
You know, like when they want to hang put a storyboard up for a commercial, for instance. The agency wants to see the storyboard. Who do they come to? They come to the grips to get a C-stand to put the storyboard on. So basically, it's just everything, and we're big problem solvers. Anything that everybody else can't figure out, they usually come to the grips to figure it out. Because they're like the MacGyvers of the set.
I see that. I think that maybe they need a side business that actually could be the MacGyvers of everything else.
That's pretty much what we have to, on the spur of the moment. Because a lot of these things, I mean, yes, you talk about things ahead of time, but normally things happen at the spur of the moment, and you have to come up with a solution. Yeah. Otherwise, everything comes to a halt. So even though, you can't say, well, in your mind you're saying, oh, hell, they didn't even talk about that on the scout. Because that's usually what I'm saying. What are you talking about? We didn't even discuss this. But you can't. You can say it in your mind, but you really have to come up with it. You have to figure it out because, that's your job. Yeah. It's one of your jobs, one of many jobs.
Always a very interesting
So it's interesting. It's never the same thing. I could tell you it's different. Like a script supervisor, for instance, she's pretty much doing the same thing every day. Right. Different words on the script, but the same thing every day. We are doing pretty much something different all the time. Right. I mean, so it makes it interesting. It's not for the people who want to sit at a desk all day. Because that's pretty much why most people got into it. I mean, not into gripping, but into the film business. If you talk to anyone out there, they're not people who are who can sit in an office.
That's right. Well, that's right. Michelle Marks used to say anybody in the screen industry couldn't work 9 to 5 at Sears,
No,
and that's
you
just very
can't.
true.
You
It's
can't.
it's very true.
So yeah.
There's a name from the past. So tell me about tell us about yourself. Where are you from? How did you get into this? All of that.
Well, I'm from Louisiana, and Louisiana currently, and not as much, but they had a robust film industry. Although I wasn't in the film industry when I was there,
Right.
I worked for an oil company, nothing to do with film. And when I was younger, I was into stills photography. I used to do a lot of photography, still do. And prior to going to college, which I went to a little bit of college, I wanted to be in the camera department. I wanted to shoot, is what I wanted to do. So I did the oil company thing for a little while. I said, you know what, I cannot do this. Punching a clock is what we just talked about.
Right.
I couldn't do the same thing every day. I couldn't. So I made a decision to explore the film industry, and luckily I had a relative who was married to a gentleman who did commercials in South Florida. That's all he did was commercials. So I did a little trip here to Miami and checked it out. Say, maybe we'll do this. So I came down here. The guy really didn't. I came down here hoping that I would get some work from him. It didn't work out that way, but I did meet some people through the guy. Who in
Networking,
turn,
right? Networking, right?
I met a person through him that in turn got me a job at Film Trade with John Banner,
Yeah.
where I learned all the equipment that we use. From that job, I got a job. My first television series was 3 seasons of a French-British co-production that we shot in Martinique for 3 years straight, a kids' TV series that we shot during the summer when the kids were off of school. And I did that because I worked at John's. John's equipment was on the job, and I got that job, and I did that for 3 years. So I was doing television way back then. It was British system, which is the grips only do camera, different system,
Right.
which is a whole nother thing. The lighting guys do more than what they do here. We only do camera on that system. So I did that, and then from there just met people. And that's the key. Yeah.
It's meeting people. Then you get the next job, and then the next job, and the next job. It's always about word of mouth in this industry.
It's all word of mouth. You're
Yeah,
not going to
yeah.
get a job from the want ads.
No.
You're not going to get a job from Facebook from some crazy person looking for crew.
Right.
Okay? So, no, you may, but it may be scary.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, if you want to really do this for a living, you're not. It's a process of networking and doing a good job. I mean, if you don't do a good job and you don't do certain things, you're not going to get called back.
So then, what's the best path if someone's starting out? Is it PA work? What's the best way to?
Well, it
to
depends
learn?
what you
Yeah.
want to do.
Yeah.
If you want to be a director or a producer, ultimately, if you're coming out of high school or film or university, and you get somebody on set and you talk to them, and what do you want to do? I want to be a director. When they're gripping, okay. Well, that's really not the right path. You probably should go production assistant, AD. That path.
So then, what's the path for someone who actually would want to come in to be a MacGyver on set? Yeah.
You need to be handy with tools. I mean, you can't come in like I've had a couple guys. Over the years, you see different types of people come in, and you tell a guy, go cut a piece of wood, X amount of this long, and blah blah blah. And the guy hasn't even used a saw before.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So you need to have a little bit of. I'm not saying you need to be able to build a house, but you need to have a little bit of
construction knowledge.
A little bit of construction knowledge, a little bit of how to turn a wrench. You need to know, like, when you turn something that's tightening and you turn it the other way, it's loosened. Some people just don't know that because we're in the age of cell phones and computers.
Right.
They don't learn that stuff. I mean,
Maybe
some people are more mechanical. You need to be mechanically inclined, I should say, for for grip and electric.
We should do a transferable skills training from construction to gripping. Actually, that might be a good. We did
Yeah.
one for props, right? So for building sets, this might be
Yeah.
and the
Yeah,
next one we need to do.
You need to be mechanically inclined.
Got it.
Yeah.
So it's good to know. For that, that's for those that want to get into it. So there is besides the paycheck, because the paycheck can be really good,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
What's driven you? What's your driven the passion to stay in
Well,
this industry?
I'm a little bit unusual because I used to get and still do. I get American Cinematographer, I get the ASC magazine, I get all that stuff because I'm into the craft. I consider myself. I'm not making films. I'm not shooting. I'm not writing scripts or anything. But you can be one of two things. You can be a filmmaker. Part
Right.
of the process as a filmmaker, or you can be going to work because of a check.
Right.
It's two different things.
That's it.
All right. If you can go to work for a check, but you're not going to advance. You're not going to advance. I think you need to be able to be passionate about what's happening.
Yeah.
know?
This industry, if you're not passionate,
So-
you really don't make
Well,
it.
there's people that are out there that are doing it for the check, and that's the wrong reason. They're doing it because you can make a lot of money in a short amount of time. But and that's the wrong reason, in my opinion.
Well, I think it doesn't give you longevity in
No.
in this industry. In any industry, truthfully, if you need to have passion for whatever it is, and that means learning all the ins and outs.
Like when I go on a project, they say such and such is a cinematographer.
Yeah.
The first thing I do is look the guy up. I want to know what he's done.
Right.
I want to watch his films. I'm crazy, but that's what I do.
Yeah.
I want to read what other people are saying about him. Maybe I'll reach out to another crew person who's worked with the guy
Right.
to know, am I working with a jerk?
Right.
Maybe I don't want to take the job
Right.
because some people have a bad reputation, they're known to be crew killers.
And,
So,
and
I
then,
do that, but
I was just going to say, and that's the one thing is that these are long hours, right? And so you have to.
It's long hours.
Yeah, very long hours.
if you're doing it, another thing too, if you're doing it because you need a check every week,
yeah,
that's not the right business. Now, when you're in a show, you will get a check every week. If you're into commercial world, you might work a couple days here, a couple days there. And even if you're doing shows, once that show is over, that 3-month project, if you're like saying you're going to do shows, you're going to have a big break after. So if you need a constant income every week, you better think about it.
You need to, with those really good paychecks, what I've always said is that you need to be a good saver in this industry. You have to be a saver to know
Right.
that you're not going to, there will be times where you're not going to be able to get a paycheck. So I used to, when I was in the business, what I used to do? I used to pay an entire year by months, like send a whole bunch of checks of my mortgage payment for an entire year when I got a really
Right.
good job, so that I knew I had a roof over my kids' heads. And a lot of people would say, "That's crazy." No, that's not crazy. That means that you're making sure that
it takes a different
mindset.
to budget.
Yeah,
And that's a big part of it. I mean, then you don't want to be in panic mode. What you don't want to be is in panic mode looking for a job. Like, because I have to get a job, I have to take any job because I have bills to pay.
yeah.
That's the
True.
wrong reason.
Right, and that's the mentality that you need to be able to put money away and understand how to manage money to be able to be
Which
freelance.
is a lot of people don't know about that. I mean, maybe that's something that needs to be discussed, not here in this forum, but
I actually talk about it all the time. So when I talk to kids, I'm like, you need to know how to manage money to be
Right.
you're a freelance. It's a freelance business, right? So that I
Right.
actually talk about it. Personally, I talk about it a lot. What about the camaraderies? Because there is something to be said that this is a family. I mean,
Oh,
I've
it
known
is.
you a gazillion years.
is.
It's like a family.
And I still, like, for instance, that first project I did overseas in Martinique for 3 years, I still keep in touch with those guys. Matter of fact, I got an email from one of the guys about a month ago saying he was in the U.S. visiting his brother or something. So I still keep in touch with a lot of people from prior crews, and especially the ones from South Florida. I mean,
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Yeah, because they are your,
but
right.
but yeah, I mean, you're with those people for a long time. When we're doing movie to movie to movie here in South Florida, which we did have a period where we're doing 2, 3, 4 projects a year every year.
Yeah.
There was a busy period. I mean, it was the same group of us doing a lot of those shows. So, yeah, I mean,
It's like, when and I say this because I know when you're with your crew, you work
you're with them more than your family.
That's right, and it's harmonious, and there is that, there's.
I'm with those people more than I'm home.
Yeah.
Sadly, but that's the truth.
It is,
because you're working 12 is a regular day.
Yeah.
12 hours is people say, oh, what do you work 12? Say that's your 8-hour day.
I know, that's right. It's a short day.
That's a short day.
Yeah.
12 hours. So do the math.
Yeah,
You wake up in the morning an hour or two before you go to work. You work 12 hours. Same thing on the back end. You're not home much.
Yeah, it's very true.
So
you have to have, and your family.
like I said,
hopefully.
if you don't want it, if you're doing it for, once again, you got to really want to do this.
Yeah, any part of the industry. I agree with you there. So tell me, we've known each other a long time, and over the years, I've seen that you have gotten more involved, as a voice in regards to, being a voice in regards to incentives, and we know the challenges of incentives. We don't have to go into all of that, but
right.
We have challenges in the state of Florida. So why, it's so difficult sometimes to get our crew involved into the process of understanding that we need them involved in all of that. Why do you think that is?
I don't know why it is. I mean, like you said, I've been, when I get on the Film Florida Zoom, they go, "Oh God, Earl's on there."
I love it. I think it's
because they know I'm gonna raise my hand and say something, because I don't just sit back. You know what I mean? If I hear something I don't believe in or I think is BS, they're gonna hear me. So, getting back to your question though, I don't know what the answer is, Sandy. I'm just the type of person I like to get involved. I mean, I belong to the IA. I'm on the board of the IA because I chose to be. I'm part of Film Florida because I chose to be.
Right.
But I'm just not a dues payment. I mean,
no,
I participate.
Yes, you do.
If I'm able to and I'm not working, I go on the call. It's one thing being a member of any organizations. Being a member is one thing. Being an active member
is another thing.
Is a whole nother thing. And I think if you want change, if you want things to happen, you have to be active. You have to speak. You have to be vocal.
We also then got incentives, and the minute we got incentives, everybody, dispersed and then didn't keep the train rolling. And then when we lost them, everybody was like, well, go get it back for us. It's like, no, it just can't be one or two. It really needs to be a cohesive effort with people that are actually will communicate in a respectful way what is needed. No, I just feel like, we were talking before we started this about how there's no one in our production directory when I know, dozens of people that need to be in there and they just won't sign up, and they don't understand is that when we're trying to market this area saying we have crew, they go, well, we look in the directory and when there's five.
I looked at it this morning when I said, well, let me do a little bit of homework. So I looked at it this morning just on the one that you have, which is it does Broward, Dade, Palm Beach,
and the Keys.
And I did grip. Not key grip, not second company, which we have to change that, by the way.
Yeah, we do. That's good. Yeah, thank you. I will write that down here. Yep, go ahead.
Just grip.
Yep.
And it was like 5. I know damn well that there's more than 5 grips in South Florida.
Yeah.
So that being said, people, so why don't they do it?
It takes literally takes 2 minutes, right?
And I think the mindset is, which is the wrong mindset, is I'm not going to get a job from that. True. You may not get a job from that. Like we talked about, it's because of networking and stuff.
Right.
That's how you get the jobs. You don't get a job from somebody calling blindly out of a production director. But what does happen when a project talks to you a year in advance, they say, they say, Sandy, what's your crew base like? We kind of, because anybody can look at this thing. It's not password protect. Just go in there and look. Because I do the same thing when I travel to, just did a project in Ohio. The first thing I do from Florida before I even get on the plane is I look on their directory to see what I'm dealing with. So when they do that here, they say, well, hell, you only got, you can't even barely do a commercial with 5 grips. How do you have only 5 grips to do? And we're going to do a television series for 5 months. It doesn't make sense. So it gives them, so you have to do, it makes it hard for you because then you have to do a lot of convincing that, well, that's really, we have more than that, you know. So,
that's right. You're right.
And then they, in
and
their
then
mind, they're
question
going,
them,
if they have more than that, what's up with these people?
That's right. Because you can go to, you can go, whether it be in California, whether it be in Louisiana, whether it be in Texas or New York, wherever, people sign up for the directory. It doesn't cost anything. It should be something that should be just to give an understanding for the bigger picture. You want to everybody know that we actually have proof.
You're not going to get a job from it, but it does give an impression.
Right.
And the impression that it's giving currently
is that we have
not good.
That's
we don't have people.
It's very true. It's very true. And we do. And so sign up for the directory. Anyhow, it's so simple.
But I don't know what the answer is.
I don't know the answer is either, but I thought maybe you had the magic.
No, I don't. I wish
sauce.
I had I wish I had the answer.
I know that even IATSE asked to put it out, right? And it still didn't.
We put it on our web page, and we put it on our Facebook, and saying, "Hey, sign up."
Yeah.
I
think it's a Florida thing. I think it's across Florida.
Other than me giving them the pen and holding their hand,
right? That's
I don't know what else to do.
No.
It's
frustrating. It's
frustrating.
It's
and I know it must be extremely frustrating for you,
yes.
because you're trying to sell.
Yep. What we have here, and that's our crew, an experienced crew.
That's what your job is, to sell, Florida, not only Florida, South Florida, and specifically Broward. And it makes it a tough,
it
tough
does.
sell.
It does, and just because they want to see the proof, and they're here, but it's hard for me to prove that, right? It's very hard. So tell me, I know you're a proud member of IATSE, Local 477.
Well, I'm in 2 of them. I'm in Local 82.
That's right, you're in. That's right, you're Local 82. So he's a multi local man. What's the process to get into the union, to join? Why should someone want to join the union? All of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
First of all, why? Because Florida's right to work. You don't have to belong to a union to work.
Right.
But we, belonging to IATSE, offers training to, for your, basically we pride ourselves in being the professional filmmakers, because we do a lot of training, a lot of, people that have come before us that are members. We do a lot, basically.
Professional development kind of stuff, right?
If you want to be the real deal, you probably should become a member. That's
How difficult is it?
It's not difficult.
No.
It's not difficult. You can reach out to, you go on their website, and they have a section on there on the process. It's not difficult. It does cost some money.
Right.
And you do have to have a couple of references. And it goes through a screening process. I'm on the e-board, so I see those applicants. They come through us to approve or not to approve. There's a residency. You have to have a driver's license from Florida. We cover the whole state,
right?
Not just one area of the state. So it's not difficult. And once you get in there, you'll be glad you're in. Like I said. I shouldn't say it, but you don't have to be a member to work. But
it's who we all look to. The industry is the standard is to look towards union members, right? For professional.
And when projects do sign up, like a television or a motion picture, typically they sign a contract with IATSE, and when they sign that, they're basically saying they will attempt to hire IATSE members first.
Yep.
So we provide them with a list of members. Yep. And the 477 is Studio Mechanics Local.
Right.
There's different ones. There's stuff for hair, hair and makeup,
797.
all that stuff.
Right, and for construction.
Different crafts.
Different crafts within, the industry.
Right, construction's part of us here.
Right.
Like I belong to Local 80, which is in Los Angeles, is only grips.
Right.
That one's only grip. Here we have grip. We're mixed, what they call a mixed local.
Right, because we don't have
a bunch of different crafts in one local. We have about 700 members.
Right. It's
so as compared to the one the other one I belong to, only grip.
Yeah.
It's like over 3,000
of just grips,
Just
right?
grip.
And that's how deep that talent pool is of grips, right? That's
right.
Yeah. So now I want to give me a fun set story or a funny set story or a scary set story, something that just we can end with something that.
Oh God! So, well, I don't know if it's fun, but it's scary.
Okay.
Well, not scary really, but would the film that made me expand, I guess I should say, that broke me open to do a lot of other things.
Right.
Was Bad Boys 2.
Yes.
All right, I got the call for that. My phone rang. I got a call from a guy named Jim. I didn't know him from Adam. He said, I got your name from Jerry Bertolami, which is a guy who used to be in Florida.
Yeah.
He was living in Los Angeles at the time, and still is.
Yeah.
He's a grip. He's a dolly grip specifically. So anyway, Jim called me. He said, I got your name from Jerry Bertolami. I'm coming into town to do a movie, Bad Boys 2. I didn't know the guy from Adam. I mean, I didn't know about the film. I didn't know it was a $200 million movie. I mean, all I've done before that is little stuff. I mean, I've done some stuff here, but nothing to that scale. That's a whole nother animal. Because they told him he could either bring a dolly grip or a best boy, not both. That's what the production told him. So he brought Jerry. Jerry gave him my name. Long story short, I took the job. And, meet the guy like a week before. We're doing a little bit of prep. He's from Los Angeles. And the first thing right out of the gate, we're going to shoot the Causeway chase scene. It's like my biggest movie ever.
With a huge
I don't know the guy.
Okay.
I don't know him. I don't know most. Yeah, it's like, and we're going to shoot the chase scene on the Causeway, which if you ever saw the movie is like the craziest thing, and I wouldn't tell you the truth. I did stuff on that movie, and so did Jerry. I mean, because he was closer to the camera than I was. We did stuff on that movie that
today you
because I was in my 20s.
Yes.
There's no way in hell I would do now.
Yeah.
We did some
crazy stuff.
Crazy, dangerous stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. It's Michael Bay.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was a blockbuster, and that movie is the reason I got to work with Steven Spielberg, because on 3 films.
Which 3 films did you work on?
The first one I did was Munich, which is about the 72 Olympics.
Yeah.
And the second one I did was the bad Indiana Jones, which is the Crystal Skull.
Okay. Okay.
Which everybody says the worst one. And then the last one I did was Lincoln.
Okay.
Daniel Day-Lewis that won an Oscar for acting. So because that Key Grip is the one who he was my boss on he had worked prior to coming to Bad Boys. He had already worked 5, 6, 7 Steven movies. He was Steven Spielberg's guy with the DP Janusz Kaminski. So because of me taking that job, because Jerry gave him my name, because I did a decent job, I guess, on Bad Boys, he called me to go do these other movies. And I did other movies too, not just with Steven, but I've probably done 12 movies with the guy.
But that's that word of mouth. There it comes straight back to the fact of word of mouth, of doing a good job, but that.
From a guy, the guy, Jerry stuck his neck out. I mean, there's no way in hell. I mean, you got to be careful. Like if somebody calls me and says, who do you recommend? I'm coming in, who do you recommend? It can go 2 ways. The guy can be good and the guy can say thank you, or if I would have screwed up, it was Jerry's name. You know, it was
Right.
his name on the line. So that's one kind of a story. The other one from I guess from a Steven movie, not so much a funny story, but when we're doing Munich, we shot at an airfield in Hungary, doubling for an airfield in Germany, and it was a very sensitive scene, and we shot it on the day actually that the event happened, you know, on the same date.
Oh, wow.
So we had like a moment of silence. Everybody, it was like, I mean, people were crying. I mean, it was like,
wow,
we were
that's
getting ready
intense.
to do a big scene where all the people, they blow up the helicopter and they shoot all the people, and basically just getting ready to take off, and
Like, oh,
it's a very dramatic scene. And another thing that I didn't know till after was we had the child who's an actor, the kid his dad was one of the people who got killed.
wow, that's
One of he was the Israeli wrestling coach.
right.
His dad was. He got killed in the massacre, and his son is an actor now, and he portrayed his dad in that
Oh,
movie.
wow, that's intense. Wow,
Crazy.
that's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy, but wow.
Crazy. Can you imagine? He got killed. The kid
He
got killed
in
the movie.
in the movie, right? Yeah, that was
I
his
mean,
dad.
he was a little, you know, infant
Yeah.
when it happened, but because it happened in '72.
Right. Wow.
But yeah,
That's
crazy.
intense.
So,
Yeah.
but as far as funny, I mean, yeah, I
There's,
don't know.
there's a lot of funny stuff. Yeah, we could talk about a lot of funny stuff. But those are the interesting stories. And thanks for joining us. This is really
Oh, I
I learned more about you. I didn't know you did all the Steven Spielberg movies. See, you learned something new
Well, I
about
didn't do
somebody.
all. I did 3, and
Yeah,
that's
but
that's
you
a
know-
good. I mean, when
yeah.
you go into, you know, when you go in your first production meeting, and because I'm in there taking notes for Jim, the key grip, you know, I'm like the secretary. So for the production meetings, you go in there and you look around the conference table and you see Steven Spielberg
Yeah.
sitting on the. I mean, like, it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
It's that moment,
I mean,
right? Yeah.
It's like, you know, because I come from a small town, Louisiana, and, you know, always had dreams of working in film, and that was like
It
was like an aha moment.
yeah.
No, it was.
No, I believe it.
It was like-
I totally
it was
agree with
like
you. Yeah.
Crazy! I can't believe I'm in this same room.
And you got to do it 3 times.
3 times, yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, great. Well, thanks for the
No,
invite.
thanks for joining us.
Hopefully, I'll help the ratings.
Yeah, yeah, she's gonna skyrocket our ratings. Thanks,
Like
Earl.
and subscribe. Is that this or no? That's
yeah,
not
you
this.
can say
No.
you can say like and subscribe to Film Lauderdale.
And everybody sign up for the directory.
Thank you, Earl.
I'm gonna hunt you down.
I love it.
All right.